You're listening to The Business Focused Photographer. If you're ready to transform your photography business into a thriving career, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll discuss fun and innovative ways to boost your creativity and income. Sound good? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today, I'm here with who should be a new friend, but Tiffany Crenshaw and I actually had attempted this conversation already, and she experienced an emergency with one of her pets that I was very familiar with, and it, everything worked out okay. But we were just joking how this is we're primed for a better conversation because now we've had like two dates, and this is our second date. And we were also joking how she's joining me, or I'm joining her on this soapbox that we share, which is all about networking and the power and importance of networking, or as Tiffany calls it, the human algorithm. But before I get too far ahead of myself, if you somehow have never heard of Tiffany Crenshaw, owner of Animal House Photography, Tiffany is a North Alabama family and newborn photographer, super successful. She's killing it as a photographer, but she's also a business coach, and she's very easy to like. And I know you guys are going to love what she has to say. I've heard her say it before, and that's why I wanted her to kind of come on and talk with me about it. So welcome to the podcast, Tiffany.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here on our second date.
No, I'm so glad that your doggy had a happy ending too.
Yes, me too.
Even if your bank account didn't.
Right. Exactly.
You can always get more money.
Right.
You can't get another. Well, I guess you can get another dog.
Maybe just not the same dog. Another one, but not the same.
Unless you're Tom Brady, you can't clone your dog.
Right.
So there's that. Sidebar. That's true.
I didn't know. So I'm
weird.
Like, okay, let me go look that up later.
It tracks for Tom Brady. Anyway, so welcome. I'm super excited. I think this is like one of the most overlooked topics of conversation in our industry. And it's one that so many photographers are going to shy away from, even after they hear your compelling reasons to have in-person networking as a part of your marketing strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to give us a little bit of background first, so on your business and anything pertinent?
Yeah. So I was originally a teacher. I taught second grade for a long time before I went into photography. And I think a lot of that has carried over. The relationship building, you have to be great at making connections when you teach, both with your students and their parents. And so I think just as a person, that's just who I am, is connection. And so that has transferred over into my business. And I think that's honestly one of the reasons I'm able to charge as much as I do. Aside from the quality of photos, it has to do with the way you interact with people. You're not just selling photos, you're also selling experience. And that starts from the first time someone meets you.
Yeah. Also, former teacher.
Of course you are.
And it's not surprising when you put it that way, that because we're one of many, of an entire sector of our industry who are former teachers. And when you really distill it, it's like, what are the keys to running a successful business for the long term?
Right.
And a big one is your ability to earn trust, communicate yourself clearly. So teachers are essentially selling their ideas, selling these concepts, right?
Right.
And figuring out ways to do so that stick, that people can remember and hold on to, and then continue to trust this educator as a reliable resource. And yeah, and then of course the people skills, just being able to have a connection with a human is what's going to keep your business booking over and over, especially like family photographers like we are, where, repeat bookings are really important.
Right.
It makes all the sense in the world that I bet you're a really good teacher. And second grade's hard.
I think so, but I mean, I'm biased, I guess, but You
But
know?
you teach your kids now, right? Your kids are
Yeah, I
homeschooled and yeah.
homeschool. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we
so
homeschool, and, we just wanted our babies to be a little bit closer, but also it gives me the flexibility for us to be able to take photography wherever we go. And so it's just, it's nice. It's been a nice transition from one to the other.
yeah. Yeah, it all makes all the sense in the world. And when did you start your business?
So I started in 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, started in 2018. Just had gotten it off the ground. In 2020, we moved to Alabama. And so,
Wow.
and funny story, we moved March 1st of 2020. So that was great.
Little did you know,
Little
in
did I
12
know.
days.
Little did I know. Right. In like 2 weeks, we'd be locked away. And,
Mhm.
I had this plan I had made, and I suggest anyone do this, whether you're moving or if you're starting this in person networking. I had made a list of contacts that I thought would cross over well with my business. So I had planned to set up coffee times with doulas, people that work closely with the type of clients that I want to work with. And so a lot of times as photographers, we only chase the client and we forget to chase the people that are in network with the clients that we want, right?
Client
And
adjacent,
so
yes.
it's that crossover. So that was my plan. It was a beautiful plan until we got shut down for the pandemic.
Mhm.
But even in that, I still made those connections virtually. So virtual coffee dates and started really building those relationships with potential clients, with potential other industry owners. So when things opened up, my business already had a runway and already took off without even being able to be shooting all the time. So I think that's an important thing for people to know, that it builds you runway when you are able to start making these connections with people.
Yeah. It, great segue. And I
Like, sorry, I might
totally
have derailed a little bit there, but
no, you railed, you railed.
perfect.
Um, no, it's exactly but that's exactly it, and, so how did you come up with this strategy? Was this taught to you by somebody else, or is it something that you had learned from when you lived in South
In South
Carolina?
Carolina, yeah, we used to live in South Carolina. So I think it's a combination of just who I was. And before we moved, there was a little market, kind of like those vendor fairs type things. And I had decided just to set up I ordered some framed prints, a couple little albums, and set up at this little fair. And I got a client from that fair who happened to be, her husband was a neurosurgeon and she needed a family photographer. I worked with them for 3 years. Even after I moved, they kept having me come back. Well, also, they had and within his practice, he had other doctors that saw their pictures on the walls and were like, "We want that." So it built this client base for me just from going to this little spring county fair thing. Um, and it's that people seeing you, right? Because it's different just when people see online versus when they actually can have a chat with you. They can see the things that you make, they can see your work, and they remember you become top of mind. Like
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, I met that person at this event," right? And so to this day, actually, I just did another shoot with one of those clients. This is 5 years later. When I started, my prices were a few $100. That client just invested $6,000 in their session,
Oh my god.
and I'm like, this all came from one little market that trickled out and expanded to other people, and I had a client that was willing to grow with me from when I was decent but not great, right? Like,
Sure,
decent but not great.
sure. Yeah,
Like, and to
yeah,
where I am now. And they're like, "Yep, we'll keep like, we're just gonna keep investing because we value." And so you can't underestimate the power of these little meetings that you have with people, because you never know who's going to be interested and who's going to book now or even, in the future.
yeah, yep, and, you I hope the people who are listening who are like, maybe on the verge of a price increase are worried about what to do about those people who have been paying these lower prices. And listen, like, there's no shame in charging lower prices because like you pointed out, you start out at a certain skill level,
Right.
and that price point more or less reflects that skill level and the amount
Right.
of trust and your reputation, and those things are all tied really tightly to price, and you can't really get around it. But
Right.
you are well within your right to then increase your prices as your trust and your reliability and your skill, did I say skill? All improve, right?
Right.
So, and you, this is proof that people will pay that. So, just real quick, what do they get for $6,000? That's amazing.
You're like, "I want to know."
This is not
So
a wedding, you know?
right, it's
It's
not,
great.
and that's also what I tell, photographers is and like you said, Jill, I think you nailed it because a lot of coaches will just tell you, "Raise your prices," right? Well, that's just not a strategy because if the experience is not there, if the skill is not there, just changing the number isn't gonna change people being willing to invest that, right?
Right.
So there's foundation. We have to like build to that.
Mhm.
But this particular client, they ordered their digital images, and then they also ordered 4 canvases for their wall, 4 larger canvases for their wall. And I make sure when I price my wall art that it accounts for. I want to be able to, if something goes wrong, if there's defect, all of that. And this is like a side note, not relative to what we're talking about, but we don't just price our products like at cost because you've got to be able to front that cost if anything
Yep.
is wrong and to keep that relationship, keep that trust factor with the client. Um and so but yeah, and when I sent that invoice, the anxiety that I felt. I'm like, "Oh, I don't know if this is like I'm done. I've ruined myself. This is it." And within half an hour that invoice is paid and I'm like, "Well, I guess I'm not really going to shoot in July. I think I'm going to take a few weeks off." And so I just that's a side note, but yes, value your services. People will invest if your skills are there and your people skills. So it's your photo skills, but also, like we talked about, it's that rapport you build
Yes.
with your clients.
Yes. It's maybe more important. You obviously can't get too far without the technical skills.
Right.
However, you will not get anywhere without the people skills. You might get one
Right.
booking, but if they had a bad experience, I've talked about it before. I've had both combinations, mediocre photos with a fantastic experience and,
Right.
a mediocre experience with fantastic photos, and I'll always choose the better experience because for starters, that's what you remember. You remember how you felt driving away, right? You
Right.
remember
Right.
how your husband was like, "I really liked them. Like, that
Yeah.
wasn't so bad." Your
Yeah.
the way that your kids were able to be themselves. Um, and then you look at the photos too, and you associate that time, but then there's everything else that's, um, often neglected when it comes to client experience. That is the lead up and then the follow-up, everything before and after the
Right.
shoot, which is
Right. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
so important. So it's, um, I, as a coach, teach a a big portion of what I am coaching people through is that price increase.
Mm-hmm.
However, it is built on the foundation of many things, but mostly client experience because you
Right.
can't justify it without
Right.
making sure that's good. Yeah. And then, like, you're showing too your client experience is starting in person.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And where, so you talked about a market. Are you
Yes.
still frequenting markets, or how
Yeah,
has
so
this
I
changed?
do have a newborn, like we have a baby palooza. I know a lot of cities have like baby palooza, things like that,
Cool.
that I will go to. I think you have to do a little bit of an audit when you're doing markets and make sure that it's one, the client base that you're looking for. So I've had years where I've done these markets, but they haven't been, if they're not advertised well, if you can kind of tell when you look at who are they marketing to, how is it being advertised, if it's going to be because they're investments, right? They're usually not free. So
Mhm.
you want to make sure, but I usually calculate like, okay, if I make a booking from this, then I've paid for the event. And also, I've put myself in front of X amount more people. Maybe they didn't say yes now.
Right.
And I actually just had that last spring at a baby, like a newborn event that I didn't get any bookings. I was pretty bummed about that because it was a high investment on the booth rental. However, like 3 months later, one of the clients reached back out and ended up booking 3 sessions, like maternity, fresh 48, and newborn. So in total, I think her investment was probably around 4,000, like across the 3 different sessions.
Great.
And so,
Yeah.
when I'm looking at, okay, this $300 booth rental, I'm like, that was a good investment. That was a good
Mhm.
investment. It wasn't immediate, but
Right.
I was top of mind for her because she actually talk to me. And when she reached out, she was like, I kept meaning to reach out. Life's busy, but I remembered, like, oh, I met you. Can we do a session? So, I think don't get discouraged when not every encounter is an immediate yes,
Right.
because we don't know. And as photographers, we're not just looking for a booking today. We need sustainability. So we also want bookings next year or the year after, right?
Right. And sometimes you can track the metrics, and sometimes you're getting bookings from these things without even knowing that is what they're linked to, because the next best thing to an in-person, connection would be a referral from somebody who your lead knows, likes, and
Right.
trusts, right? Like their own friend.
Absolutely.
And people like there is a personality type that loves to say, "Oh, you need a photographer?" Like they want to be the one to recommend something. I met Tiffany, she has Animal House photography. She's this amazing family photographer. It's like not to pose, it's in your house. Like, so people will then recommend you just because they met
Right.
you and now you're the person that they think of it. I think that photographers think that the place to compete for visibility is in the social media space
Yes.
because so many of us are following other photographers. The algorithm shows us things that are photography related. So it feels like that's where we need to be putting our chips.
Right.
When our clients, your average client, is not following all the photographers that we're following, their algorithm is showing them very different things. And that's really not where their memory is holding on to this information. So when they
Right.
meet a photographer, like if you met a roofer, if you met a landscaper, if you met a house cleaner, that whoever they are, regardless of their prices, regardless of many things, they're going to be the first person that you recommend just because you've met them in person.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And have you found, because I have, that those in-person connections, the clients that start there are really my most aligned and my most perennial. They are the ones who I see usually every year for the
Right.
longest amount of time.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that has to do with the fact that pretty much people will know from interacting with you if you align, right? And so if they continue to follow you after you've met them, after you've had conversation with them, it's pretty much guaranteed that they align with the way you run your business, you align with the type of client they are. They tend to just be easier,
Yeah.
like, not that we don't want, random people to find us. That's great. We want our SEO to work. We want our websites to do some heavy lifting. However, there's not as much selling that you have to do once they've kind of sold themselves on your experience,
Yes.
right?
Yep. They're waiting for permission.
Yes. And I
Yeah.
think, and I don't know, I don't know if you were thinking about this, but something I was thinking about for photographers is, you know, you got to get creative, right? On when we talk about in person, there's so many opportunities that I think as photographers, we get pigeonholed into like, my skill is taking family portraits. That's all I do. But really, you just have to be one step ahead of somebody to be able to educate them. So, for instance, one of my best in person events was teaching. an iPhone photography class to a mom's group. There's like a little play gym in our area, this like Montessori style play gym. And so, I knew like these are the type of moms that value the photography that I do. And so to teach them how to take better pictures at home with your phone, teach them a little bit of angles, like don't put your kid in front of a window when you're trying to take pictures and have backlight. Like
Yeah.
these are not hard concepts for us, but people don't know. And so find those people, right? Find little events where you could partner with another small business and get eyes in front of your business from people that are already maybe looking for your type of service. And you don't have to be like the most amazing photographer. You're going to be good enough to teach or to be able to host something for moms or whatever your client, if you're branding, if you're senior,
Right.
photographer.
Yeah. I've done similar events, coffee and cameras, understanding your camera, like the speaking of animal, I have an animal house too, Tiffany. Got a cat fight in the background. Um, I have hosted similar events where it's like normally January, February, "Hey, did you get a DSLR for Christmas and you have no idea how to use it? Come
Yep.
on down. We're gonna hang out. And I will co-host with a photographer friend of mine who shoots Canon where I shoot Nikon, and that normally covers our
Right.
knowledge of the different systems. And yeah, it's I've gotten clients that way for sure because I think what people realize is that it even once you understand like how to like your settings and everything like that and getting
Right.
out of into manual shooting, it's still really hard and it's still worth it to pay this expert on to do it for me. So
Right.
I've gotten
Yes.
clients and I even got an associate out of it. She was an art teacher who was getting ready to start teaching photography and she really needed to brush up. So she came in and took it and then she became obsessed and she took, courses with, Kirsten Lewis and got really, really good at documentary style photography, and then started to try to run a business and realized like, "Oh, this isn't fun actually. I just like the camera part." And then
Right.
when, like, told me, she was like, "If you're looking for another associate, I would love to do this. I just don't wanna run a business." So she's and so it's like, it you never know what connections you're going to make,
Right.
and it's just such an important practice to be physically putting yourself in places where it's understood you are Jill Smith of Jill C. Smith Photography and you this is what you do and
Right.
like do you do your like local business organizations or visitors associations and things like that?
Yeah, so I am not current well, that's actually on my list for this year is to, like, join our local chamber, but,
Yeah,
we do have, like, a small, women's small business organization here that I'll go to events and, network, and again, like, you gotta find your people because there's some networking groups that just aren't my people,
right.
nothing against them, but some of the bigger ones that, everyone has these chapters in their city, but, like, I don't really need roofers and my
No,
roofers are not really finding the people that are looking for my services, so
no.
you also have to really make sure that you're you're getting in front of the people that you can be mutually beneficial,
Yeah, yeah,
to each other. But when you get that small business that loves you, like they're going to keep there's a spa here that I was like, "Hey," she reached out and she's like, "Do you want a spa day?" And I was like, "Do you want some pictures of your spa?" Perfect. Sounds like a win-win-win
that
for
is a
everybody,
win-win, yeah.
And so she comments every time someone's looking for a photographer. She's always commenting, like recommending me. I'm like, and she has people coming in that are like, they're coming to the spa to relax. To like, these are good, these are good
Mhm.
leads, right?
Yeah,
And so reciprocity, like find people and like you said, some people just love shouting people to the
yeah,
rooftops. Like that is their love language is being able to just like always have somebody to recommend for things.
yeah.
So, you got to just get a little scrappy, I think, and think outside of the box.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I had a very luckily, I have a studio I'm mostly an outdoor golden hour or in-home photographer, but being in the Northeast, I need something else in the
Right.
cold months. And,
You have a
so I have
lot
a
of cold
studio.
months
A
there.
lot of cold months.
A lot of
Yeah, it's
cold
about like
months.
6 of them, and, but I mean, it's helpful for, a lot of the ways that I run my business. It's very, very useful, but in the last few years, next door to my studio, this children's boutique bookstore opened, and wouldn't you know, the people, the parents that this bookstore attracts are the same people that I attract into my business. So
Right.
where we've had a lot of like mutual customers from the start, I've been able to introduce people to her business, and she's introduced people to mine. She's
Mm.
hosted me for pop-ups, like for like personality portrait pop-ups in
Yeah.
her space. And yeah, like people will leave their session with me and they'll have a toddler and I'm like, "What do you have planned for today? You want to?" So we have all these cute shops on our main street. Go to the bakery, get a cake pop. There's next door, she's having a mommy and me yoga class this afternoon. Like, go check it out. It's really
Right.
you'll love the store. And it's like one hand is washing the other. Because
Right.
I genuinely want to recommend her. I want to see her business do well. I like
Right.
her and I like what she brings to the community, and I think she feels the same way, and it is like that that golden business connection where, like, she's a mom with kids, she's never hired me, but she's
Right.
recommended me so many times, so it doesn't always
Right.
have to be like this client or this, like, has that spa owner hired you?
She has not. She hasn't
Yeah,
hired me yet.
yeah. So it's like it's funny, um, it also shines light on the fact that, like, the majority of people do not hire professional photographers.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, it that has become very apparent to me, but it doesn't mean that they don't still wanna, like, support your business in one way or another,
Right.
and it's a beautiful thing, especially amongst, fellow small business owners.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's you're so right when you say like a lot of people don't they see the beauty in it, but that doesn't mean that either they value it for themselves or you never know, it could be that their spouse doesn't, right? Like,
Mhm.
and they've decided as a family, this isn't what we're going to invest our money in, and that's totally fine. Like that's
Right,
okay. That doesn't mean that they're not still a beneficial lead,
right,
for you.
right. So, super, super beneficial. So what do you have, like, a goal every year to be participating in some sort of in-person networking uh, event or opportunity per quarter, per month? Like how often and how strategic are you with them?
Yeah. So my goal is at least once a quarter to have one main event that I'm either participating in, attending, hosting. Like last month I hosted an ice cream social for I have like a membership and I try to really take care of the people that come back every year, right? And so, we rented out the little ice cream shop for an hour, had them come, let your kids get ice cream. So, it's not always just other owners, it's also there's things you can do to build buzz around your name as a business, right?
Mhm.
And maybe there's another company that's like, "Hey, we would love to have eyes on our business, so let's co-host an event for the community or for your list of people that have shot with you in the past year." Like, it doesn't always have to cost a ton of money. So you got to get creative. There's ways
Mhm.
to lower that cost, right?
Yeah.
But those are the type of events that people talk about. They're like, "Oh my gosh, like we went to this cute ice cream shop and our photographer," like those
Mhm.
little things go a long way. So I try at least once a quarter, whether it's for my own personal clients or whether it's going to attend an event, to have some sort of in-person thing. And yes, I have to be strategic because as you pointed out, we homeschool. So time is very limited and you don't want to just go to everything. You want to do some digging, ask some questions like who's going to be there? What type of clients do these other people serve? Make sure that it's something that's aligned and that will be worth your time investment, right? So but I just set a reminder, like, once a month, I'll sit down and kinda look ahead of the rest of the quarter and make sure, like, "Oh, I haven't gotten out of the house." 'Cause we're
Yeah.
so our heads down, like, we're just
Yeah.
editing and we're working
Yeah.
and we forget to look up and, like, walk out the
Yeah.
door. Like, I need to go into the real world with people out
Yeah.
there, and not just compete on Facebook, on the moms groups
Mhm.
because
Nobody's winning there.
nobody's winning. And so you gotta just consider it not like, "Oh, this is one more thing." Think of it the same as you posting online. Like, this is the same as you creating a blog or responding to these things on Facebook. Like, you going out is the same thing as these things on your computer, except you potentially have the option to reach even more qualified leads, right? Not
Yes.
like $50, I want to pay you $50 and I want everything in the world.
It's
So,
so much more effective. Like, you wanna talk about your visibility, and even with email marketing now, where our inboxes have algorithms, and it's like if you have an open rate of 50%, like, you're killing it, and if your visibility is 3% of your audience on social media, that is, like, you're doing well there. Like, how about every single person that walks past your booth sees you,
right,
right? It is like it's so much more worth your time to
right,
do this, and you don't have to do it as often as email marketing or social media posting
right.
or, like, whatever you're doing, because these are lasting impressions. So, can you tell me a little bit what, like, when you do a booth, like a tented event, as you called it, what does that look like for you? What are you doing? What are you showing up with? How long are you there?
Yeah. So I've built up over the last couple years more of my sample gallery, but I like to bring one big. Big pieces of wall art. I have a few here that I've ordered. Maybe some, like, I think one of them was a mistake, and which was a bummer. But I was like, you know what? It's a sample. Like,
That's it.
it's gonna be
That's
a
it.
sample.
Yep.
Um and so the big also, it catches attention.
Sorry. Hold on.
It's okay.
I'll mute myself.
Yeah. So, the big pieces, they capture attention, right? And people walk by and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, I want a picture like this of my baby," and or my family. And so I like to have a few of those. I also like to have some albums, because the albums I order are really great quality, and it's one of those things you can't see in a picture, but when you hold it, every time their reaction is the same, like, "Oh my gosh," like, "Wow." And so having things like that where they can touch and feel, if you have anything unique, like, I have some, acrylics that are a little bit different, so I'll set those up, but I try to just make it, like, visually so appealing. I want them to be able to, like, they stop. They're literally walking and they're like, "Oh, like, I need to go look at these." I also bring a little rack of my client closet. Not everyone has one, but if you do, it just adds some layers and texture, just like in photography. We're always trying to layer and texture things. So it's
Yeah.
like filling in some space. And then they also can see, like, "Oh, you offer this, wardrobe. Like, I literally can just come to you and everything is going to be done." I'm like, "Yep." Like, and so, and then I'm usually there for a few hours. It's usually not, not too long, but
So you're basically, I mean, by the way, I have a client closet. I've never done that. That is so smart. I'm gonna do that next time. That's so, because it's a huge selling point.
it is.
It's a huge selling point.
And even if they don't pick anything out of the closet, the fact that you have one,
Right.
just elevate. They're like, "Oh, and you have this."
Mhm.
Even if they don't use it, it's still a value add, right?
Yes, it's exciting talking point too when they're telling their friends about you. Because that
Yes.
that is such a pain point for our clients, is figuring out what to wear and then paying, like, in addition. Like, think about the last time you had family photos and how much money you spent on what everybody was gonna wear.
Right.
Bulk of it was probably on what you were wearing, and sorry, family.
Right, right. Because mom has
Um,
to look mom has
mom
to
has
feel good, or
That's it.
else, like, she's not gonna love the pictures, so yeah.
These are these are photos of a woman with, like, some people. This is, like
Right.
but really, like, that it's such an exciting talking point for people who have hired you and worked with you and borrowed from your client closet before, so that's so smart. And so you're basically just there, though, on display, like, if I went to a conference and I walked past a vendor's booth and they might have some swag, but they're mostly
Right.
there to show me what their business is and what they do?
Yeah, and I do usually have some sort of offer, um, that they scan a QR code and it puts them on the email list. So
Yeah.
that's the thing with in person. Your goal is to build your email list out.
Yep.
You want to make use of every person that comes
Uh-huh.
into like communication with you. So that could be as simple as my free posing guide for families. Like, it's very simple, it's low lift, I've already made it. I have a QR code and they scan it and then they get added to the email list. So, because I want to follow up, right? Like, we want to be able to follow up from these
Yeah.
events and not just like, oh, I did that. Like, now I'm never going to talk to these people again. So, like you said, email list still is limited. However, it's that kind of trickle down, like, you meet them in person, you add them to this list, now you can continue this relationship because they've already met you.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, I do. I had this banner, a really big, it's probably like 2 by 6 or something, vinyl banner with grommets that has my business name as a logo with the QR code on it. And the QR code is to get them to on my email list. And the QR code is set up in a way so that when they join through that way, they get automatically tagged as being from whatever the event was that I was
Right,
working at. I do my incentive is I do like, really fast and easy portraits. I bring, like, a simple retractable backdrop, normally black or something, and people can just pop their kids in front of it, and they get these photos, and that is how I get them to give me their email, and then I'm getting the qualifier of, like, is this somebody who likes to have their picture taken or
right.
wants to have their children photographed? And then, yeah, it's so cool too because I don't know if you're in a big town or I think you're in a you're almost definitely in a bigger city than I'm in. I'm in a county of 80,000 people. So
Okay,
so
okay.
small.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so while I've been in business for 12 years now, it feels like by now everybody should know who I am. They don't because
right,
we have people move away, people who were still in high school when I opened my business and now have a family, so there's like
right,
our audience is always changing and growing and evolving. You still have to continue to do these things that so many people otherwise feel are reserved for those in growth, those who are just starting their business.
right,
You
right,
know, it's a conversation I had recently with one of my best friends who's a newborn photographer, also in business for a little bit longer than me, actually. And she's been complaining of like her visibility, her struggle with visibility. And I had to tell her, like, you have like stopped doing all the things that you did originally to get this last crop of clients because
right,
you're considering yourself a veteran or like
right,
beyond that. But you're not.
right,
It's what built your business.
right. And that's where, you mentioned your associate, how, she's like, I don't want the business side. And I think that's really smart that she identifies that because a lot of people just assume that, because I like to take pictures means that I want this to be a business. And those aren't the same thing. I would argue that, 85% of what we do isn't photography. It's running a business. And, it's like the pictures
Yeah.
are like that's like the small piece
And that's
of
during busy season. Like it's
right.
even the gap widens even more when we move into like the slow season.
Right. And so I think, you have to keep that in mind that unless I mean, I know there's a few people maybe that just like everyone just always comes to them and they don't have to do anything. I don't know. But like that's never been my case and it's you have to keep working at it. Like you got to keep finding
Mhm.
clients and that's just a part of running business. Even large companies like Nike and like they still have commercials. They're
Right.
still like, like
Yeah.
everyone knows who Nike is, but yet they're still going to keep promoting like we have to do the same, and it can be really exhausting,
Yeah.
but it can be fun if you get creative with it. But yeah, you're right, it doesn't stop. There's not like a okay, now I'm done marketing
There are no
forever.
laurels for us to rest on. That's not a thing. You can create less work for yourself though by bringing in the right people so
Yeah,
that rebooking is less work for you. Uh, and I think that bringing the right people in starts with finding them the right way. And
right,
where you might find great, well-aligned clients through a variety of ways, one of the most consistently good, reliable ways to do it is with in-person connections and networking as a photographer, not as like you're a member of the PTA and you're just sitting there with these other people and you never make mention. Or,
right,
if you're in the PTA, why don't you volunteer your time as a photographer for one of the events? And then you're going to be viewed in a whole new way
right.
by the other parents. Like, be creative, and don't be shy about who you are and what you do. I think a big reason that this is hard for people, Tiffany, is that, the prevalence of imposter syndrome with
Yeah, yeah,
photographers.
right,
We don't wanna say what we do because we don't feel like we earned it.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Even
Yeah.
as you were talking, I was, then that's the thing. We like sit here, I'm like, oh, and here's an idea, and here's an idea. There's all these ideas, but even thinking about ways where you could host something, let's say, and this is off the cusp, right? So it'd have to be fine tuned. But I'm just thinking even about if you have those clients that you love and the ones that are like, if I could just have every client be you, why not host something? And it could be like in the spring and in a location that you're like, the light's good. This is an easy low lift. Why
Mhm.
not host something where those clients get like one pass to bring one family with them that they feel like, hey, they would really love, like, I love your photography. I know that they need family pictures. I know that, they would also love your services, and host something where they can bring a guest where you spend 5 minutes taking a family portrait, for them and their guest that's there. And now you've like doubled your reach of people, and it's a low lift, right? You're
I
not giving
love
them like
this.
an hour-long session. You're just like, here's a little thing. I don't know,
Mhm.
bring ice cream to the park. Like that's your parting gift. Just like little things that will set like that impression. And it also feels a little exclusive for your
Yeah.
clients. You're like, hey, I'm only inviting a handful of people and their guests. Like this is something that I'm just creating for you and your friend. So
I
I don't know.
love
That
it.
was just like something that I was like,
I love that. So I do, and I started this year, a client appreciation event, which I guess, like, I'm a one trick pony. I need to come up with another thing where it's personality portrait pop-ups, but in my studio, and people bring their kids in and they get 5 minutes, per kid in front of the camera, and, I actually don't include anything. They have to buy any photos that they want from there, but the session fee is waived. I love this. I love this spin on it, a client appreciation event, but each client that you've selected, and I think if you're really careful about which families you ask, looking for the ones who are your best clients and
right,
one, whether it's enjoyability, profitability, whatever,
right,
however you wanna measure that, having them bring a friend who's likely to be kind of like them in one way or another
right,
could be that's so smart. Yeah, it's once you start thinking through in this respect, in these angles, you start coming up with so many ideas,
right,
instead of like which social media or like Instagram reel trend should I be spending 4 hours creating today?
right,
And which will is, like, not helpful. The other thing that's, like, I say it all the time, but it's like, you don't need that many clients every year,
right,
and
right.
you probably about half of them are gonna be repeats if
Yeah,
you're doing things as well as you can be. So you don't have to work that hard to go viral or get in
right,
front of millions. You just need to get in front of the right people in the right
Right.
spaces.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, as long as you're pricing yourself well, you don't need a ton. And that's something also with that imposter syndrome. I think when you have a big price raise and then it slows down, it can feel like, oh gosh, like this is, but really when you think about it, you're like, oh, I don't need as many clients anymore, you
Yeah.
know? And so it's okay. Like take the few that you have each month and make those really great experiences so that you don't need to be finding dozens of clients all the time. Like you just need a few, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you're so right in that.
Yeah. And the big price increase followed by a slowdown can be attributed to so many things.
Right.
Normally, people do it in January. Like, "Oh, are you getting a lot of inquiries normally in January? No? Okay, maybe don't raise your prices in January."
Right. I tell that to all my students. I'm like, you need to raise your prices in the fall because
Mhm.
people are already looking for you. And if you're having to turn people away, or you should be turning people away, maybe you're not, but you're like at capacity,
Mhm. Mhm.
that is a great time
Yeah.
because they're already coming. And so then when they're like, yes, you're like, oh, this pricing is like, it's fine. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
January price increases are the like most terrible. And I've had where I've had to do it in January for one reason or another, but it's
Sure.
always the worst. It's
Yeah.
always like a confidence killer.
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
like, no one's ever going to hire me again. No, it's just
Yeah.
January.
No, I think there's, like, reasons to do it in January. You mentioned a membership. Do you also what's your sales model? Like, your selling model
So
and
I've had all of the models, but currently I am doing IPS.
okay.
But that's only been since this past January.
Oh.
So prior to that, I was doing like collections, but they would go online through Pick Time and
Mhm.
like choose their package. But my membership opens in February each year, and I
Mm.
did that so that way it was after all the holiday, like because people are just really trying to get Christmas for their kids and they're trying to shop for their family. Like it's a hard time to sell things. And so I was like, February is kind of quiet. It's a good time to open the doors. And it's only like they're only open for a week.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
set aside that week to really focus on like phone calls, voice memos. Like I'm like a lot of personal reach out to the people I've worked with in the past
Yeah.
in order to like build up that membership. And so and then those members, they get all of their pictures. They don't have to choose anymore. Like
Right.
if we do a session, they get the pictures. And so it's good for both. It's actually less work for me because I'm like, edit, send, we're done. Like they're
Yeah.
like, yes, I don't have to choose.
Mhm.
And they keep coming back. And so
Yeah.
it's just nice, it's just easy. Repeat
Well,
clients are just the best.
they are
It's
the
just the
best.
best.
I'm like and this is the time of year where I see the most of them because I also have a membership and they get first dibs on the
Okay.
dates in my calendar. So, like, that's how I fill up my fall. And the way that I introduced my membership was with a price increase at the same time. So,
Okay.
where my legacy clients, the people who were getting invited in, could see their options, like, okay, she's raising her prices. It was significant enough. It was 800 to 1,200. Um, we can just pay that, or we can now get in on this membership, which broke it down. There were perks and things like that. And I think that was one time that I did a January price increase where it worked, but it worked because I got a bunch of members and then I got
Right.
that repeatable, predictable income every single month that was business
Which is
changing,
really
honestly.
nice.
It
It's
is.
nice when you at least know that there's like a chunk of money that's gonna
Mhm.
come each month.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, I agree. I do. I love that. Man, we've run up the clock and this is like but I think that this is like really really valuable information. Where can people learn more about you, what you teach, everything that you do for our industry and within it, Tiffany?
yeah, so they can find me over on Instagram. I actually have a new Instagram that's just for business. So it's Tiffany Crenshaw EDU.
Great.
So they can find me over there. Also Animal House Photography. That's where you'll see all the pretty pictures. But all the business savvy, that's over on the other page. So
Cool. Yeah, so we were talking before we started recording about um the building of our photography business versus the building of our coaching businesses and the stark contrast. And I also started a new Instagram account this year for my basically for this podcast, but for the coaching portion of my
Yeah.
business. And oh man, it feels like I have like 250 followers on there. It's like
Same.
I feel like I'm yelling into the void. I'm like, should I be doing? But yeah, so but yes,
Yep.
it's nice to I didn't love sharing all of the coaching stuff for my with my photography clients. Like I
Right.
just
It
I
gets a
want
little weird.
it does.
You know, it does. It
Yes.
gets a little weird.
Yeah.
So,
I especially
um,
because I talk a lot about raising your prices. I don't know. I should be okay with it. I should own it, but I don't. I don't with my clients. I don't want them to really have all of that insight into
right.
yeah.
Yep.
Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And I by the time this airs, your coaching program will probably be closed, but can you tell me a little bit about that too?
Yeah. So I have a coaching program, a group coaching called Booked and Balanced. And it's for women photographers that are looking to not just increase their bookings, but also um, to have more balance in their businesses. So sustainability, schedules, we talk a lot about like
Mhm.
systems and workflows, how to raise your prices successfully, not just change the number, as we talked about.
Yeah.
And so we start in January. So we start January 8th.
Okay.
By the time this airs, I don't know if there'll be any spots, but people can certainly reach out and if they want more information on it.
Well, I think this is gonna air the first week of January, so I will link regardless. I don't know if you will take
Yeah.
anybody in if you have that spot still available. I doubt you will. But anyway, I will link to that too in the show notes. Thank you so much, Tiffany. It's been so fun. I'm so glad your dog's okay and we were
Yes.
able to have this conversation.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
So until next time, keep shooting, keep creating, and keep building the business that supports your dreams. Have a fantastic week. And remember, in the business of photography, your creativity is your biggest asset.